Hello, hello, hello. After not having seen us last week because we were all at Bits, we're back and we have a new guest, Kendra. Hello.
Hello.
It feels weird asking you who you are because despite us not having met in, I think it must have been 25 years at this point since the last time we've met in person. But who are you?
Who are you and why are you here?
It's a two-part question.
My name is Kendra Little. Currently in my work life, I play the role of I am a staff technical product manager at Stack Overflow.
Fancy.
Doesn't that sound incredibly
I feel like people are just making up job titles here.
Yeah.
I work with the data platform and data science team at Stack. So I get to work with lots and lots of smart people. I never have to worry about being the smartest person in the room, which is incredibly enjoyable and a very fun ride.
Huh. I mean, you've been in the data field for a while, since it's been 25 years since we've last met.
I have been around the old data block a few times. For a while, I did say things like, I've worked with databases for 20 years, but then I found that actually you get to the point where you're like, I don't want to say that anymore.
Just a while.
For a bit. For a good bit.
Yeah. Like I don't want to count the years at this point. It's just that we have I feel like I have a good long-standing intimate relationship with the database industry and that it will continue to evolve over time.
All right. I mean, kind of good thing you're not working for a software vendor anymore, so you can completely speak freely at this point when we're asking you, what is your favorite data-related tool, feature, offering, product? What is your favorite data thingy?
What is my favorite data thing? So I love this question. And I was thinking about this question, and I'm torn between two answers, which are somewhat related. So one thing I reflected on recently was one thing I like to, if I'm feeling a little stressed out at work, there's a lot of stuff going on. One thing that will always calm me down and just chill me out and make me happy, make me smile, is just writing some queries. Right? It's not my job to write queries, really. I do get to do some cool things like next week, I'm giving a session introducing folks to querying the Stack Overflow schema, right? So I get to write example queries for that. But I love using databases and running queries. So right now I use Snowflake a lot to run queries against. And that's really interesting. And I'm also very interested in how, hey, now you can, in a lakehouse scenario, you can just query files. Even a little file can have a transaction log, and you can query it like it's a database, but it's files. Stuff in the Microsoft data platform. So I mean, I think in part it's fun to run queries just because there's a joy to thinking in sets that I think a lot of us experience. There's just something really cool about figuring out, how do I take these sets of data and pull them together, filter them, join them, link them to get a meaningful result. It's interesting and fun. So that I think my favorite data thing in some ways, in a simple pleasure way, is just writing queries. But I think this leads into a lot of other stuff, because figuring out how do different databases run these queries is also just super interesting, right? How does something take this code, translate it into operations that use compute and storage and a query optimizer to return these results? It is magical. It is.
That's true.
Yeah. So
that's true.
Running the query as well as sort of learning about how the heck does this work? Those are my favorite things. It's kind of two things.
Query meditation.
Yeah.
I like that.
Query meditation.
Yoga.
I like that too.
But yeah, I've started kind of saying, we should do the things in work that make us happy and that help us relax. So I'm I should find ways to work writing queries into my job, into my work time, because, I can find ways that it adds value, and it's just fun. I don't ever want to leave that, I don't think.
Do you also get to the point where you just can't stop? Where just like, well, I kind of got the job done, but there's all these cool extra things I could do to that query or to that job or whatever, and then you just basically keep going? I may or may not have partitioned that table today just because I fancied creating some automatically created partitions again. Not there was a real added benefit of doing that. But
I don't fall into that too much because I am not. I love beginner SQL. I have a passion for the basics of it. Like, I am not a SQL rocket science. There are some folks who really get into how do I solve really hard, complex problems like the islands and gaps problems? How do I do these cool things in T-SQL? I am more of I even experience the wonder at just like, hey, how does this simple query work effectively? And how are all the different ways? And do they, if I write this in different ways, do they run in different ways, or do they actually follow the same execution path through the database system? So I actually find myself nerding out a lot on looking at execution plans and things, even for very, very simple queries, rather than constantly refining the SQL. I get into different weeds.
I think that's super important though, because your like basic SQL and your like beginning indexing courses are some of the best ones I've seen, because a lot of people focus on like the advanced stuff, right? And the like more complicated stuff, but we all need the simple stuff before we can do any of that. So yeah, it's definitely a gap that needed some love.
The simple stuff is very interesting to me. The sessions I always want to go to at conferences, I love going to beginner-focused sessions, even on topics that I think I know well, because I always learn stuff from it. Whether it's a different way of explaining something or some aspect of it I hadn't considered, or just, someone's way of thinking about something. I find the how do you take these complex things and make them accessible? That to me is the fun part of teaching. I'm not the one who always gets at the debugger. It's true.
You should totally attend my sessions. They're from beginners to beginners, But speaking of conferences, any fun places, any fun conferences you plan to attend in the near to mid future?
I am going to submit a session to the past Community Data Summit, maybe more than one. The call for speakers, I believe, is still open if other folks wish to submit sessions. But I now actually I don't live that close to an airport now. So I live in Maine, top right corner of the United States.
Can I make the joke again? How you moved from Portland to Portland?
Yeah, I used to live at the top left corner of the United States. I now live at the top right corner of the United States.
I appreciate this geography lesson.
I mean, we're not great at geography in the United States anyway, in general. So even Americans may appreciate this, geography. So there's not a time. I think I'm going to do some especially if I get accepted, I want to do some virtual conferences to warm up. But I might have to start something locally because there's like 6 people where I live.
Perfect.
That sounds like a perfect crowd to start a local user group, at least. So,
are they 6 people excited about data, or is it you excited about data and then 5 other people?
Yeah, that one.
Okay,
the latter.
More challenging, but there's data everywhere, so maybe you can make it work.
I was going to ask, if I come and speak for your user group in person, am I actually going to present to 6 fishermen, or is there going to be like 6 people that actually care about data? But
They might be lobstermen. And by the way, I think the gender neutral form of lobstermen is lobstermen. I have not discovered how lobstermen who do not identify as men, what they like to be called. I'm still working on that.
Lobster folks?
Lobster. I like that.
Lobsterinos.
Lobsterinos. That's much better. Yeah, I like that.
Lobsterinos.
Lobsterinos and lobsterinas. I was kind of thinking that when I said fisherman, I was like, is that even? But yeah, I could not come up with anything. Fishing industry, get your act together. Come on, gotta be more inclusive.
So anyway, back to the meat and data friends. We've covered your favorite data thing.
Yeah.
And we've covered that your favorite non-data thing might be fisher folks and lobsterinos. But when you're not datering, what's your favorite thing to get up to?
I have recently being within like the last 6 months, I've recently got into textile art. So right now I'm mostly doing quilting, like blanket quilting, quilted dog coat every now and again.
Nice.
But I sort of randomly took an adult ed sewing class, and I was just sort of like, I once learned how to use a sewing machine. I'd kind of like to do it again. And, they even had the machines there. It's low commitment. And I loved it. It's just like, I can make something with my hands that is cuddly and cool. And the other nice thing about quilting is like there's such expectations of it being like quaint and classic and homey that like right now I'm making a quilt with raccoon faces on it and a trash can. Like I quilted a trash can block, and just no one expects it in a quilt. No one expects like a trash can on fire in the middle of the quilt. It's really fun to kind of go in and modernize. I'm like, maybe I'll make meme quilts. I don't know.
Oh,
it's really fun.
Kind of corner that market.
Yeah, exactly. So
Etsy store coming soon.
Got me intrigued.
I am definitely thinking of setting up. I think it might be called the name glitch quilting. I like that because I with the hobby, I very much am in the progress, not perfection boat. Like I'm not going to get all these perfect points and everything. Like I'm not going to be technically perfect at this. But I just want it to be like cool and snuggly, right? Like the bar is low.
I will be your first customer for a glitch raccoon quilt because that thing looks awesome. Yeah. As long as you do international shipping.
I know from
We're gonna
experience
pick that up
that
when we do our
international
co-presentation.
shipping. What?
When we attend Kendra's user group, we can just pick up our orders.
Great plan.
That's true. Yeah, Taryn, who's another data friend who I hope you find, she makes cutting boards and cool woodworking things. And when I was living in the UK, I bought one and she shipped it to me. And I thought that it was lost at one point in the international shipping. And I almost caused an international outcry. But it did eventually arrive.
Yeah, I found that shipping things from the UK to the US or vice versa, they either make it in like a week and you're like, how did that even happen? Or it's like a solid 2 months of who knows where it went to.
Right. Yeah.
Perfect. That's a perfect system.
That's also how mail works within the United States now too.
Oh, excellent.
Well, at least there's consistency, right?
Yeah.
Your order will arrive within the next 2 days to 4 years. Ish. Oh, no.
Yeah, eventual consistency is the way of the
the mail system.
There's all these concepts that from computing that get reflected in real world structures.
Not really what we're looking for with mail, but still.
Well, apparently there's lots of fun facts about mail. I think it was last year or the year before I was sending something to a friend in Norway. And I was like, did you receive it? And she was like, no, but I couldn't receive it. It's Tuesday. It's not a mail day. And I was like, what? What's a mail day? Yeah, we don't get mail every day now. So I was like, oh, okay. So
good to know.
Some days are non-mail enabled.
If you ever send something to Norway, make sure you send it on the right day. Or at least you ask on the right day.
Well, I don't think we get it on Sundays.
Yeah. Yeah, Sunday's not a mail day here.
Well, our mail office is on strike all the time. So,
do we get to ask y'all at some point what your favorite data things are?
Yeah, that will be in episode 250.
You're gonna build up to it. You should have a contest asking people to guess your favorite data things. PowerShell. I've already got my guess in first.
Jess feels
So you
seen.
made the contest and then you won it within 15 seconds. Great.
What is happening?
Great
But
feature for the pod, that.
This is a little trickier, though.
BDC.
Well, I was going to say, basically what you do is you Google Microsoft product discontinued, then you get a list, and then you just pick any.
That is, I think that maybe, yeah, that's an interesting favorite. Discontinued data products being your favorite thing.
Someone's got to collect them.
That should totally be my blog, discontinueddata.com. Registering that as we speak.
Yeah, suddenly you're over here doing something.
Exactly.
It's like a little museum, you know?
Yeah, the data museum. I like it. There's a lot
BDC
of
is not even
opportunity
cold yet. It's not a museum. It's very much alive. Kind of.
In your heart.
And for both customers. Give or take.
If either of the two customers are watching, we salute you.
Hi. Hi, Mom.
Hey, Mom, I got you a BDC for your birthday. I'm pretty sure she would be super happy about that. Oh, by the way.
Oh, my.
I love being buzzed off a show.
The end.
And cut.
And we're actually at like the 15-ish minute mark, so I didn't even have to, because what people do not know, this is a behind-the-scenes tour on Finding Data Friends. Kendra actually requested that sound to be played on the show today. Well, actually, she was asking for like a gong or something, but we were not prepared, and we have a very limited budget when it comes to special effects like this. So this is what we ended up with. But anyways, it was so great to see you. I'm already looking forward to see you in person in November.
I hope so.
Assuming we will both be there. I mean, making two assumptions here at the same time, but
yeah, I hope we find each other in the physical world sometime soon.
Because that is the last time we've actually met, 2019 at the PASS Summit.
Were we not at a Grillin after that?
No, because Grillin after that was
2020. Oh, it was 2019 Grillin.
Oh.
You were at 2019 Grillin, then there was 2019 Summit.
But Grillin shines in my memory because it is the greatest event ever.
I mean, you're not wrong there.
Agreed.
So.
I am not wrong. I am correct. I speak with authority, having attended all events.
There's that. But before we eventually chase you out of the studio, because you need to make room for other friends here, we make new friends, but then we also make other new friends, so people have to leave. Sorry. You don't have to leave, but you can stay here. But if people want to get in touch with you and chat more, or maybe ask for a resource or two on simple SQL or simple quilting, or both, how do they get in touch with you?
So I am on the internet in a couple of places. I don't use Twitter so much anymore. I might go back, I might not. I'm mostly on Mastodon, on hackyderm.io, Kendra Little on hackyderm.io. I really enjoy Mastodon. I am also on LinkedIn, Kendra Little on LinkedIn.
And your Etsy store coming soon.
My Etsy store coming soon. My blog is at littlekendra.com, and excitingly now, kendralittle.com redirects to littlekendra.com. I have achieved Kendra Little URL domination.
Yes.
Damn.
Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. It's
Bravo.
taken many years.
Bravo.
A romance novelist used to have kendralittle.com, and so I would receive questions about the romance novels I wrote.
Oh boy.
But mostly the fiction I write is in SQL.
Mostly. Hang on. Mostly. There is more. We got to find that somewhere on the bookstore of our choice, and then next time we're going to make a joint book reading with Kendra.
Well, my backup career plan has been that if this whole database thing doesn't work out, I can write romance novels because I already have a recognized name in that area. And I can write about like the deadly embrace of deadlocks, right? High drama.
This seems like a good idea for a blog anyway.
It does.
I mean, it's almost April 1st is coming up soon, so I think I know what my mission is for April.
There you go.
I like that. I already have a name in that scene, so I just pick that up and take it from there. Nice. Yeah. Thank you so much again for joining us. Thank you everyone for watching. If you want to be on the show, ping us, and we'll be more than happy to add you to our list. It might be a bit because the list is growing, but we'll eventually get to all of you. And we will not stop until we have found every single one of you all there. This will be a while. I'm sorry, Jess. Good thing we talked about that before. Anyway.
Yeah, very professional. We got this.
That's what we do. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.